Hello and welcome to this month's coaching tip on the listing presentation. For many years, we discuss structure, frameworks, quality visuals and dialogue to communicate your message. We've used words such as the selling plan, selling process, be it our listing board, our staircase to price. It's completely up to you what you do, but there's something very powerful in the journey of putting your own listing presentation together. Well, joining me today for our coaching tip is Mr. Phil Harris, and Phil's going to explain to you exactly the process and journey of putting the new presentation together, and then it's also going to be our listing DVD this year for Real Estate Hot Topics. Phil, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Lee. Good to be back here once again.
Very much so. Phil, take us through what you've been doing, and prior to the visual, what went through your mind when you thought, I need to reinvent my listing presentation?
Well, a couple of things I really focused on in the reason why I actually built the presentation like this. One is, obviously, I've moved into a new role now, Lee, which is having other salespeople having to go out there and present the company message. So it was really about having a structure for the team to actually know where a listing presentation starts, where it finishes, and what the key dialogue is within that. But also from a training perspective, it's very hard to sit down with a whole number of salespeople and actually take the time to explain how a listing presentation actually works. Where I found that if we can just record it to audio, give them a visual, send them away to go and learn it, makes it a lot easier for those people to actually do that.
And just for our listener, your transition is now to selling principal. So as the principal of Harris Real Estate, in the past you only had to get Phil right, whereas anyone who joins you in the future now is going to say, how do we sell a house here? So you've had to build a presentation for all. Was that difficult? Did you find it easy?
Look, I think it certainly had its challenges, but as far as the way the visual goes, what I was more focused on, Lee, it's more around the words and the consistency from our salespeople. So what scared me a little bit was putting together a company where not knowing what people are actually saying out there in the lounge room, how they're representing our brand. Whereas I know if we actually get consistency across all of the guys, from a management perspective, at least now we know what they're actually saying out there.
Take us through this visual. It's now a one page, where in the past we've seen you do multiple props. You've really mastered the skill this time of consolidation. What have we got?
I think consolidation is the key, Lee. From what I'm finding now with consumers, I feel you've probably got somewhere between 20 minutes to maybe 30 minutes to make an impact within the lounge room. I think people's attention spans are getting smaller and smaller with all the information that's being thrown their way. So for me, it was about putting together a presentation that very much had that structure of the key fundamentals that need to be covered, such as price and marketing, those sorts of things, but then also just having a couple of key trigger points as to why they should list their property with Harris Real Estate and present that in an exciting, in a condensed fashion.
Well, coming up on the Real Estate Hot Topics program, we're going to have your full listing DVD. That's where we are today, constructing that, and our listener will be able to hear your dialogue, what you're doing. Was there any particular parts of this? Box one is situation, preparation and presentation, pre-market campaign. What are you trying to convey in that part of the message?
It's just the natural flow of how the actual selling process actually goes if they choose to run with Harris Real Estate. So box number one, situation, a key dialogue there is whenever you walk into somebody's property is what's your situation now and what would you like it to be? Yeah, so it's very easy for salespeople to get their heads going through that natural process. As far as preparation and presentation, so what's actually going on behind the scenes at Harris Real Estate to make sure their property is being taken care of. And then the pre-market campaign is really where the selling process actually starts to begin. So it's a very natural flow of how the actual process is managed. And then, as I said, just a couple of key points of what the differences are and what the benefits are of listing with Harris Real Estate.
Very powerful. And I agree with you in this consolidation that people are time poor. And if you can't cut to the chase and tell me the deliverables now, they want to get rid of you and could make the decision not to go with you because you did take so long. That big change is very hard for our listeners to understand because a lot of them have been taught, unless you're there for 3 hours, you haven't done the job properly. Phil, you've been listing how many a month?
Well, look, we've been open as a company, and we've been open for going into about our 7th or 8th week now. And as a company, we're currently carrying 41 listings. I think in our first 3 weeks of being open, in the second week of January, we started 210. We managed to list 27 properties in that first month, which was a good result, with our guys using this system. So it seems to be working, so we're going to run with it.
What other visuals or tools are you using?
There's not a whole lot of other tools that we're using. As I said, it's more about cutting the chase. One is obviously we call it a marketing planner, okay, so which is just when we do the tour of the house, the boxes to tick on bedrooms and bathrooms, all of that information. It's also got an agenda on the back of what needs to be discussed at the kitchen table, so that's probably one key part of the presentation. And then apart from that, it's really just the normal visuals that you see, the ad in the paper, what the signboard might look like, and a couple of brochures. We're trying to keep it very condensed and very clean.
Well, Phil, I want to thank you for joining us. And when the DVD comes out, the beauty of a DVD, people can pause it, look at it, take in your dialogue. We'll do an audio edit of your words so that we can create that in CD. Final question for you. What was the timeline from your vision to creative?
Well, I suppose this listing presentation for me, it's probably 8 years of my thoughts put together into a 20-minute presentation, you know. So this is really an accumulation of 8 years of walking in and out of lounge rooms. So as far as the time frame, that's how long it's probably taken to come up with a concept. But in actually sitting down and saying, right, okay, now I want to really work out how do I want to nail this listing presentation, was probably put together over a series of a couple of weeks. It also involved a lot of meetings with James Williams and a couple other salespeople that are on board with us and how they felt would most benefit, and this was the result of that.
Well, congratulations. I think the journey in building the listing presentation is where you learn it, and I look forward to seeing the DVD, and I know our listener will too. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Lee.